Today we've got a special guest to come in, David Frisell, and he's going to come in to the studio today. So what we do is we bring in people that are in the trenches in the REI business, and in the Facebook group where that David would be coming in today, and you may know him from the wholesalers in the industry. So without any further ado, I've got David in the green room. We'll bring him in and we'll get started. So welcome to the podcast, guys. And I'll just click and bang, there we go. We've got David in. Thanks, David. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate your time. And we'll just start off with if you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your background, where it all started, and we'll head off to where you are now, type of thing. So,
okay. Well, mine. I am David Frisell, and I currently run the website, the Wholesalers Toolbox. Some of you might have gone there and got wholesaling contracts or scripts or gone to the Wholesaling University. But I started the Wholesalers Toolbox without intention of it becoming what it is today. Originally, I was just selling leads off of it, and it's just evolved. But before we get into that, my history, I've been around real estate and real estate investing and in some aspect of it my whole life. As a kid, I rehabbed houses with buddies of mine. I did a lot of painting of houses and did things like that. And went into sales, and then eventually got into real estate. I got my real estate license in a couple states. I was a licensed mortgage broker. I've inspected houses for investors. I've rehabbed. I've done pretty much everything around the real estate industry. And it wasn't a plan. I didn't say, I want to do this and I want to do that. But I think throughout my life, doing the things that I've done with real estate and experience different niches of real estate, it really helped me when I was exposed to real estate wholesaling. And I said, wow, all my skills kind of play into this. And it made it easier for me to wholesale real estate. So, and here we are today. Today, I run the website. And I still wholesale, not as much as I used to because of running the website. But, when I come across good deals and I've got some friends and some buddies that are investors, and I'll wholesale the properties to them. And, I just continue to learn and grow and see where this takes me.
Yeah. And you're based in Florida now, but you were initially, a lot of this stuff happened you're in Michigan at the time.
I was actually a licensed realtor in Florida, and I was a mortgage broker here in Florida. But then, when the housing market collapsed back, 2008, 2009, we went back to Michigan. And that's where I really got exposed to the investor side of this business, because I started inspecting houses for investors, going out and taking photographs of houses that they were thinking about buying and rehabbing, giving them, just a ballpark figure on what it would cost to rehab the houses. And that's really how I got my feet wet in the investor side of it. And then, it just got sucked into it from there.
Yeah, and that's a great point. We've spoken about this before, and if you could just elaborate on that bit, because obviously the Facebook group that I've got is about collaborating, networking, and JVing, obviously. But I mean, that's sort of part of the theme is especially if you start off and it takes a while to build up deals, and that what you did is we've spoken about it, is a great way to earn money, and connect yourself with people in the industry, sort of in the trenches, while you're trying to build up your business on the side. So if you just want, I don't know if you want to elaborate on that and just.
Absolutely. I try, I have the YouTube channel and have done videos talking about that, but it's hard when somebody or when an audience wants to wholesale, and that's what they have their mindset on. when you talk about real estate photography, or you talk about, rehabbing, or you talk about, cleaning properties or whatever, nobody wants to hear it. You don't get through to many people. But really, for so many people getting into wholesaling, because they have, no experience, they might not have any sales experience, they don't have any negotiating experience, or any of kind of the key tools that you need going into wholesaling. It's so beneficial to pick something you can do in the industry and do that and make money while you're learning how to wholesale. So, for example, when I started getting into the business and taking pictures for investors, because there was a company that was buying properties and they were rehabbing them, putting tenants in it, and then selling it as an investment property overseas. So they hired me, because they were buying so many, just to go out and take pictures. So they didn't have to leave the office. They didn't have to go do whatever. So I'd go out and take pictures and just say, hey, it's approximately, $10,000 to get this property, rent ready or whatever. But they would pay me $150 per property to go to do that for them, because it was worth it to them to pay it. And of course, I like the money, but it gave me exposure. I knew what kind of properties they were looking at, what they thought was a good investment deal, what kind of money they wanted to spend on it. And I just was exposed to, the guys rehabbing the properties and the property management companies and all that. So without going to somebody and saying, hey, can you mentor me? I really, by doing something like that, I made money, and I got free mentoring. They didn't know they were mentoring me, but that's what was going on. So if it's inspecting houses or taking pictures of them, or going out and doing video, or doing, whatever, cleaning properties or whatever, it's whatever you can do to find exposure to get into the business, do it, and it's all going to take you down the same path. If you want to eventually own your own properties, or eventually own your own rehab company, or just wholesale or whatever, you're going to get there. You're just going to take your time and learn these aspects of the business, make money while you're doing it, and then eventually get to your goal.
Yeah. So, they're great points. And also, how much did that help you build a network? Did that sort of, without you knowing,
great deal. So originally, when I went for that company, I was taking pictures for them. Doing that for a while, and then I came into contact with people overseas that were buying properties in the States, and they were having issues with property management companies, or tenants, or people rehabbing their properties. They weren't getting the service that they expected, or they were being a lot of times sold properties that weren't what they thought they were, whatever. So I saw an opportunity there, and I had reached out to one of them. I don't remember if it was on Facebook or whatever, and said, I work over in that area a lot, and I know you're having problems with your property. If you would like, I would go, I could go over by there and take a video of the property, and show you what's going on with the rehab and all that stuff. So I did it, and I didn't charge her, but I just did it as an experiment. So I went over there, took the video, and walked through the property with a little video camera, and loaded it up to YouTube and sent it to her. And she's like, oh, this is, the greatest thing in the world and all that. Well, she knew other people in her network that were also buying properties here. So then they started contacting me to do the same thing. So I put together a little website for inspecting property. I think it was inspectdetroit.com. And people would come to that website, people from out of Detroit, overseas or out of state or whatever, and pay me to go look at their properties. So I started building relationships with all those investors, and I'd go and look at houses that people were selling or whatever, and I started to build this network just from doing that. Now, again, I wish I could say, oh, this was all planned out. This was I planned on doing this before I got into wholesale. That wasn't the case. It just led me along that path, right? I got into that. I eventually got into rehabbing and different things, but it drew me into the investing world. And I think that's what most of the people in your group or, wholesaling, as a whole, they're a lot of them are using wholesaling as an entry point to get into the business. And, one day they might be buy and hold investors or they might want to have a property management company or whatever. But this is just a lot of times a stepping stone to get where they want to go. And any of these skills will help them on that journey.
And David, how long ago was this? How many years ago was this when you started doing this?
So we went back up in Michigan. I believe it was 2009 when we went back up there. Within a couple months, I was actually doing inspections for occupancy inspections for the banks for properties that, were going into foreclosure. And I did that only for a few months, and then got hooked up with the guy that owned the investment property company. So I'm going to say it was probably mid 2009, right? Maybe fall 2009 when I started inspecting houses for them. Probably a
12
year
years ago.
So I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's about 12 years ago you were doing that.
About 12 years ago, yeah.
Yep.
And then, like I said, it progressed from there. Probably a year or so later, it's when I started doing, like the videos. Wasn't that long after that where I got talked into, putting together some rehab crews and actually rehabbing for investors. And then I did that about 4 years, rehabbing houses. And I was doing so many of them because once you start in that business and you do a good job and people like your work and it's, they rent the house easy because it looks nice and all that, you get more work than you know what to do with. So I had multiple crews working and was just doing so many properties in Detroit. I just got burned out because I was working, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and working until midnight. And, then I heard about wholesaling. I don't remember where I heard about it, but I thought that sounds a lot better than what I'm doing. If I can find a property and, get it under contract and flip it and make, $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 or whatever. And, for that little amount of work, actually it sounded a little too good to be true, but I found out, that it wasn't, it was actually a thing. But, it's a crazy path. It's, you don't expect, just like with the website and the YouTube channel, in a million years, I didn't expect to be here, but, here I am. So,
yeah, no, 12 years. And what that strikes me that, and I said this last week when I was talking to Nicholas, we've got this virtual wholesaling model now that's been developed, say, really, really heavily over the last 2 years since COVID come, and everyone's, it's forced people to go more virtual. You were working on the model 12 years ago. That's what I mean. Like this, that's pretty innovative because you actually had a virtual model so people could actually use your services to then, because they could trust you, to then have, really good boots on the ground, someone that was trustworthy, someone that had knowledge, because you've done all aspects of real estate. So, I mean, once again, that's sort of pretty innovative. And then, like you said, you moved on into another area, like through wholesaling. But it's a common theme. A lot of fix and flippers end up in wholesaling because they say, they burnt themselves out. They just went too hard. So I hear that a fair bit. But yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is you've got that innovative nature, and that's probably what, you see a problem, you try and, have a solution.
I think you have to be really successful in real estate, the real estate investing niche. You have to be innovative, and you have to really think about things and look for opportunities. So, everybody wants to, to get into wholesaling or be a buy and hold or whatever. But along the way, look for the opportunities, because so many people just walk by them, I heard a long time ago that you make money doing the things that other people don't want to do. And that's why wholesaling, it works, is because investors don't want to spend the time and effort and do all these things to go out and find great deals like wholesalers do. So, we go out and get in the trenches and get our hands dirty and do the negotiating and everything like that. And then we just hand a sweet deal to the investor. So by, for doing that, we get paid, an assignment fee or a finder's fee or whatever you want to call it for doing that. But don't, if you're getting into this business and say you're not an overseas investor, you're here in the States, in your market, look for those opportunities, because you can send mail all day long to trying to find motivated sellers. But if you find out the investors who are out of the country buying in your market, there's so many opportunities because they need somebody they can trust here. And once you start doing that, you're taking pictures and you're doing whatever, you're going by to check on the people rehabbing the properties, or you're doing something with the property manager. Then once you have those relationships and you come across a property that's a good buy, you've already got your buyers. You've already got a relationship built with them. So it's just a matter of, sending them a message or, getting on the phone with them and saying, hey, I came across this great deal, and, they'll wire the funds and it's done, So it's, it's you're making money and building your network.
Yeah, and as we've spoken about before, Dave, I mean, you were actually, you don't have to go into figures, but you were actually earning really good money by doing that. I mean, you were surprised.
When I was, and I probably underpriced my services, but I when I started doing it, I thought, okay, what is it worth for me to get in the car and drive over to a house, that was, within 20, 30 minutes of where I live, take a video, drive back home. And I thought, $100. If somebody threw me $100 bill, I'd be willing to do that. So when I put my website together, I charged $99, right? $99 to go do that. And I was doing like 5 or 6 properties a day, with the video. And now I would also, take pictures if they wanted pictures taken. I would do not a home inspection, but I would do a property condition report where I would walk through and, I just have a checklist and I would say, needs a roof, needs a kitchen, the furnace is missing or whatever, and just go through there and just mark everything that I could visually see wrong with the property. So I charged, for that. And, I had my little list of services on there. But yeah, I was making good money. And honestly, until I got talked into, wholesaling or rehabbing properties, I could have just kept that business model going and kept making money doing that. We've talked before about this, but how I promoted that once I got going and once I got my website built and everything like that, I actually ran Google paid ads that would just show up overseas in Australia or the UK or wherever. And so if somebody was, searching for, Detroit investment properties or property management companies in Detroit or whatever, terms that, indicated that they were a foreign investor looking at the Detroit market, my little ad would pop up for, Detroit, investment property rental inspections and all that. So I drove a lot of business doing that. And I mean, the ads cost me nothing. I mean, it was, maybe 30 cents a click or something like that. So, it was very lucrative to do it that way. But my point is, if you're getting into, the JV space and you're in the country, be creative and figure out some other avenues along with wholesaling where you can make some money while you're doing it. So you're not struggling to get that first deal and you're like, you quit your job and you're like, I'm going to be a wholesaler. And then you're, sending mail and buying bandit signs and doing all these things that cost money, just praying, that you will close a deal. If you have another, income source in the space, you're still learning it, but you're still making money.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. And this interview is going into also a international group of people that are all over the world that do US wholesaling, land, creative finance. And we could all, there's people waking up in the middle of the night, with the sense that, hang on, I need to hear this, because one of the most important things is being able to link up with people like that, because, you need to be able to trust someone, and you need good people on the ground. So, some people might miss this because they'll be in bed, but when they actually see it, they'll go, yep, that's exactly what we need. So there's a huge market for that. And I want to get into what you're doing now, but, and get into what you're doing with your website and the Wholesalers Toolbox. And but the last thing is, I just want to run through. So basically, just to recap, you started off, when you were young, you were around fixing flips, you were helping paint places when you were young. So you've also that was my side hustle. It started when I was a teenager, because my mom was part owner in a motel. So I painted the rooms, like when they were being redone, I would paint the rooms, and I did a lot of painting around there. But as later in my teens and in my early 20s, anytime I needed money, or I was like, I was kind of feeling broke and needed some extra spending cash, I would make up flyers for painting, and I would go around to all the real estate offices and ask the receptionist to put it in the mailboxes of all the realtors, because I didn't like painting houses that had people living in them, because they're picky and they sit there and watch it all day. So I liked vacant houses for painting. So that was my strategy. And every time I did it, I'd probably pass out, 500 flyers or 1,000 flyers, but I'd always get deals off of it. So anyway, started with that. And I was around, my mom was in real estate, and so I was just always doing something that was real estate related. And even though I had about 10 years where I sold industrial equipment, I sold forklifts and stuff, real estate's always been a thing with me. So you had, so that you just mentioned that you've had the sales background. So that was great grounding.
Sales background. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say this real quick, Graham, and this is for anybody that's thinking about getting into this business, and they don't have, they don't feel like they have the skills, or they get nervous every time they pick up the phone or whatever. When I was a little kid, I was the shyest kid in the world. If somebody stared at me, I'd go run and hide. That's, when I was little, that's how shy I was. In the 6th grade, we had to get up and do a presentation in front of the class, and it was a third of our grade. And I almost failed the 6th grade because I didn't do it. I was scared to get up in front of people and talk. So for me to be a successful salesman and be successful in real estate and everything else, if I can do it, anybody watching this can do it, because I was the person with the personality type furthest away from being able to do this for a living.
Yeah, that's great advice, because I think a lot of people new in the business just think they see people out in the industry and they go, they're great on the phone or whatever, but it wasn't always like that.
They think they're born with it, right? That person is just naturally outgoing and all that stuff. It's for me, it's a learned skill, right? As a teen, if we would have had computers back then, I wouldn't have been doing this. I wouldn't have been on YouTube. I wouldn't have been any of this. I wouldn't have done.
Yeah. So the other things I'll just quickly touch on is you also did finance. You're in
mortgage. Yeah, I was started as a mortgage loan officer and did that for several years, and then actually went and got my Florida mortgage broker's license. And I never had my own brokerage, but I went out and tested and had that license. So yeah, I have a good background in mortgage and in finance, and even in the industrial equipment arena. I did a lot of financing of big projects. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You've got a very varied background, but then you landed in, like you said, into the wholesaling world, and from there you've developed education. I guess you've got YouTube videos. You're very informative. We actually laughed because before I met you, I'd pinched one of your YouTube videos and put it in the group as an explanation of how to JV. Yeah. And there were so many in there. I mean, there was some of the big names there, and I actually went to your one because you explained things really, for someone a simpleton like me, really, really good. And I think that's the thing is you get it, bring it right back, strip it right back, and you've got the ability to be able to explain stuff to people. And it doesn't just mean beginners, but people just on a for people to be able to take it in and really understand what's going on. So that's what you do with the Wholesalers Toolbox now, isn't it? You have content, you have videos that explain contracts. I mean, can you tell us a bit more about the Wholesalers Toolbox?
I guess it was the equivalent of, seeing that investors needed videos of properties and somebody locally. When I started learning wholesaling, I saw a kind of a void, because everybody, was either, selling a course or you're familiar with everybody saying, well, just go watch YouTube and figure it out. And I felt like there was something missing. There was, some place where you could get the information you needed to wholesale without paying a lot of money for it, right? So although my website started, I started using it just to sell vacant property leads. I had found a good way to get it, and I thought, well, I'm putting a website together to sell these. Then I just started building onto it, and I started putting more helpful content, on how to wholesale properties, or this tool's good or that tool's good. Then I did, I put the contracts on there for people to download. Then I made videos that explained how to fill out the contracts, and it's just kind of grown. I had no intention of doing anything like that when I started it. And then, the YouTube channel that followed, it was the same thing. I wanted a platform just to explain things to people, because I'd be in the Facebook groups, and I just see a lot of misinformation when people would ask questions about wholesaling, and not that I can reach everybody with the YouTube channel, but I just thought I was in my own little way combating that bad information by trying to put out some good information. So that's what the Wholesalers Toolbox, all about. I don't sell my own course, everything on there I give away for free. And it's just to help people, not only here in the industry, but even, outside the country, so they can learn about wholesaling, so they can see what the contracts look like, and so they can, understand, why you need a good title company, or how to find motivated sellers, those kinds of things. So it's, completely free resource for everybody to use. Again, I don't charge anything for the Wholesalers Toolbox. You just go on there and, I have at it and dig around and find what you need.
Yeah. I've been on there, last week or two, really opening up the box, having a look. And I'm like, I had that moment. Where was David 12 months ago when I needed him? I
was there. You just had to tell me.
And this is what I'm finding. This is why I'm bringing guys like yourself, guests onto the show, because you don't want to get 12 months down the track, go around in circles, and then realize that all that information was already there. So, that's what I'm trying to do in the Facebook group, is get as much information out there. So, because these resources are unbelievable. I mean, like you said, the university you've got in there is free. You can do it for free. And it's just amazing. So, and I really appreciate you dropped your contract bundle in the group about 2 weeks ago, I think it was. And I've been looking through that. And once again, the videos explain how to fill them out, and I just love the way that you explain stuff. I'd rather go to your stuff because it resonates with me, the way that you explain it. And I think your method is keep it simple. Just keep it simple, explain it simple, no bells and whistles. And I think a lot of people now just want to go back to basics and take away all the fluff, and I think that you're an expert in doing that. And I encourage people. I've got your website sort of across the screen now, so I encourage people to go and have a look.
Yeah, there you go.
Check it out. Check it out. So
if you Google anything close to that, it'll come up. So, right.
Yeah, and I've had
Toolbox or whatever.
I've had a lot of people that I know, through the industry that have actually contacted me and said, that's awesome what David threw in the group. So I appreciate, and I've spoke to you. You've got that abundance mindset. You just give, and you just give stuff out, and what goes around comes around. So, and that probably that leads me to the next question, more about, you personally. You're pretty relaxed. You live near the beach, and, we've spoken, and you're sort of big about the whole lifestyle as well, aren't you?
Yeah.
You believe about building a lifestyle with this business, not so much an empire where you're just working 24 hours a day.
Yeah, I think, as I have matured, I don't want to say as everybody matures, but as I have matured, if you would have asked me at, 23 what I wanted, I would have probably said, a Corvette and, and a mansion or, whatever, but, as I've gotten older, like you said, I want the lifestyle. I don't want to be stressed. I spent years in mortgage, and when I worked, industrial equipment, I had, bosses, barking down my neck, and mortgage business. I was successful in the mortgage business, but with that success came a lot of stress because, I kept a notepad by my bed because I'd be laying down for bed and it'd be, 12:30 at night, and I'd go, oh crap, I've got to order that appraisal, or I've got to talk, and I would write down like things so I didn't forget them. And, as we talked about, the mortgage industry collapsed, and, I kind of went back to square one, and I thought, I don't want that stress again. Whatever I get into, I want to just live life for me and my family and all that. So I don't care about big mansions or fancy cars. I want, good cars and a nice place to live, but it's more about the lifestyle, living here by the beach, being able to go for a walk over there and clear my head, hitting the pool, at lunchtime if I want to go out for 30 minutes and get some sun. And that's really what me and my wife want now. We don't want the crazy corporate lifestyle. We're more in it for, let's worry about our retirement and just live a simpler life.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about, the real estate industry is you can amp it up if you want to, you can pull it back if you want to, you can tweak and adjust. And like you said, you can sort of pivot as you go and saying, look, actually, I might go over there for a bit. So there's a lot of flexibility. And we've spoken about, I think it's called the digital nomad, and that's becoming more popular now. People are traveling and still doing business while they're traveling.
Sure. Yeah.
All of these sort of things. And, like I said, with things going really virtual now and, like international, and it can all be done with the technology, it opens up that opportunity.
It can all be done with technology. And on my website, I promote some stuff for Justin Wilmot and the 10-hour wholesaler. But he, back years ago, back when I was new in the business, came up with his, system where it's virtual wholesaling, essentially. And, he's rebooted another program that's kind of a different take on that. But, I did that back then after I started successfully wholesaling in Detroit. I had a buddy in here in Florida, here in the Tampa area, that was a wholesaler. So I was kind of testing that virtual wholesaling thing back then. And I said, hey, if I market down there and come up with buyers or with sellers, will you handle the deal? And, we'll do a split up. And he's like, absolutely. So I started sending, postcards to probate and things down here. And we did some deals like that. So it's, this can be done anywhere. This JV model is great for, not only people outside of country that want to get into the real estate market in America, but for people in America that, they live out in the country, there's no place to go driving for dollars. So they can pick a city or, someplace that's got a good investor market and go, there's my market. That's where I'm going to do it, and there's so many other things like, for, somebody trying to do that. So I'm going to virtual wholesale, but they can also offer like hard money to their buyers and make money that way. Or, there's just so many different avenues if you think about it. In addition to just wholesaling virtually, you can do, like I said, private money virtually, or you can do whatever, just get a notepad and start thinking about what can I do for these people, for buyers and sellers outside of that, outside of wholesaling, and just package it all together. And so when you're promoting 4 things or 5 things and not just one thing.
Yeah, that's an awesome point. And I think, like you said, you go from being tunnel vision to once you start opening your mind up and the pennies start dropping, it's just the opportunities out there are amazing. You know, it's amazing. And actually, you just triggered something. I'm actually in a Facebook group where the guy's name's Kyle, and they were traveling around in Winnebago with the family and everything, and he'd do all these Facebook lives, did his business, and I don't know how long he was on the road for, but he basically was running his successful business traveling around the States in a big motorhome. And I mean, that's what I mean. Like you can do anything. And like, I'm hopefully going to try and get him in, to explain how he did all that and how he set up. But like, I was going to actually mention Justin Wilmot, because like Kyle, Justin is very big on systems, having systems in place. So, which makes it easier to do that, doesn't it? And like, especially if you're running a business that's got many different little things packaged into one, if you get your systems right, you can create that lifestyle. So, and one of the questions I asked you, when we spoke yesterday was, Justin, what's he like? And you said, yep, exactly what he projects is exactly how he is. Because I think a lot of people see this stuff and they go, oh, no, that's rubbish. That's not,
I think there's a lot of people in the real estate space that have these personas that are not them, right? Because they are selling a lifestyle, and the Lamborghini and the mansion behind them and all this stuff. But like I said, I've known Justin for years, right? I bought his original course, and after I used it, successful at it, I believe it was the first product that I put on the Wholesalers Toolbox that people, if they were interested in virtual wholesaling, they could do. So I've known Justin for years, and he truly is exactly like he comes across. He surfs, he goes, to Costa Rica for 2 months at a time. He has a big, boat. He lives, his office is right across the beach. It's all him, 100%. Yeah. So. Yeah. But he's we're all in this for the same reason, right? We're all trying to build a certain lifestyle, be it like, me, I want to live by the beach, or Justin wants to go surfing or whatever. We want to create a lifestyle, and even for people that have bigger aspirations, I want to own a great big office in an office building and have 30 people working for me, and we're going to do flips, and we're going to do, if that's the dream you want, go after it, so it's, but we can all get there. And no matter what your background, we're all new at some point, right? So don't be afraid about being a new investor, or a new wholesaler, or I don't know how to invest in the States, or I don't know how to find buyers. We all started from scratch, and we all went out and found, the people that we work with and our partners and, our wholesalers, or, whatever. So anybody can do it, right? So if you're getting ready to start this journey and you're thinking, this is a lot, just start with one thing, man. Go take pictures for somebody. Ask an investor if you can help them find properties, and go out with their, rehab contractor, when he looks at properties to see how he rehabs numbers, just start building those relationships, ask people to lunch, go out to lunch and pick their brain, hey, can we go, 30 minutes and I'll buy you a hamburger, and, you tell me how you got into this business or whatever, but just keep doing that. And if you immerse yourself in it, make friends in the industry, make, those connections, it's going to suck you in. You become part of what you're around. So get around it, get in it.
Yeah. They're great little nuggets, those, because you are who you hang around, and if you immerse yourself and put yourself out there, you'll attract more and more good people. And that, like you said, if you want the mansion, the Ferraris, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want the beach lifestyle, you can just pick and choose, and it's all good. Everyone's, like you said, in the same industry, heading in the same direction. So let's we'll finish off. Let's reach into the Wholesalers Toolbox. Do you want to explain some of the services that you've got I mean, I know you've got
There's so much in there.
yeah.
All right, so
you got a few goodies out.
I guess the biggest thing is the Wholesaling University. You go in there, opt into it, to say, you put in your name, your email address, and you're in, right? There's nothing to buy. There's no upsells, and it will just kind of walk you through wholesaling and explain the business to you, how you should do it, how to find a title company, how to find cash buyers, how to find motivated sellers, and all of it just walks you through. Contracts. I've got every contract you need. We've got the purchase agreement. We've got the assignment agreement. We've got a JV agreement. We've got something that everybody, nobody uses and should use is a notice of cancellation. If you're in a contract and you can't find a buyer opting out of it, all those forms are in there. All the videos that tell you how to use those forms are in there. I've got scripts in there. I've got, links to, any tool that you would need that I think is a good tool, prop streamer, vacant house data feed, or motivated seller data feed, cash buyers list, blah, blah, whatever you need in this industry. If it's not on the Wholesalers Toolbox, you don't need it, right? It's all there. So, I'm getting into, because of my background, I'm getting into funding. So if you need, transactional funding for a deal, if you want to double close something, people can reach out to me for that. If you need hard money for a deal, I have connections for hard money, so reach out to me for that. So anything you need, right? If you don't see it on the Wholesalers Toolbox, shoot me an email and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and I can help you find it.
Yeah, so you got it covered pretty much from start to finish. That's awesome. And like I say, to the people watching, do yourself a favor, go in there and have a look. Like David says, there's stuff in there. It's free. There's services that you can go from there. But David isn't a high pressure person. He's like, come in, have a look around. He's not going to harass you. It's just, if you want to look at some lending and that down the track, reach out to him. So no, that's awesome. It's a great resource. And just quickly, last before we finish up, you're working on another project now. Which do you want to explain that? Which is you've just set it up on YouTube, and that's going to be sort of your next project. Do you want to go into what
we're talking about? The beach bum stuff.
The beach bum stuff, yeah. That's for me too.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's as the website, the Wholesalers Toolbox got going, and I started, like I said, I started with Justin's program, and I started adding, other things, prop stream and into different things. But I'm an affiliate for all those companies, or most of them, because they're products that I use. They're products that I believe in. So, I set up affiliate programs so if somebody, subscribes to one of those services or gets a Carrot website or whatever, they pay me an affiliate commission on it. Right. And the nice thing about affiliates is if you do that, and I promote things, it doesn't cost the buyer anymore, but they, the company that created that product just share, they pay me a commission for promoting it or whatever. So I started a website called Beach Bum University, and it's still, in the infancy stage, but I want to show people how to be an affiliate marketer, because like wholesaling, there's so many people pitching like, oh, my way's the greatest way to do it. Just buy my course and I'll teach you and all that. But people struggle with it just like they do with wholesaling. And, they put together a website, they spend this money for hosting and buying these things, and then, are never successful. So as a guy that almost did it by accident, and because I'm in groups that affiliate marketing groups, and so many people fail at it. And I believe this is because they're taught, to go after the wrong things or to, do it the wrong way. I wanted to build the website to kind of teach people how to do what I do with affiliate marketing. So, similar to the Wholesalers Toolbox, Beach Bum University is it's going to be free. Go on there, and it's going to tell you how to profitably do affiliate marketing and live the lifestyle. That's the theme of it. live your best life, build a business model so you can live your best life. And it's not fluff. I'm not going to lean against the Lamborghini or anything that
maybe lean against the
you might
surfboard.
take pictures of me at the bar, half drunk or something. But it's just about living life and building that lifestyle.
Yeah, well, you've already got two members to that. That's me and Justin Wilmont. And I reckon if we can build a community of beach bums,
right,
we can have the conference at Bells Beach in Australia, a famous iconic surf beach, and we'll get you guys to come over. Tax deductible, fully tax deductible. So
I know Justin would come.
Yeah, well, that's right. So, no, awesome. Thank you for coming on, David, and sharing all that. I mean, there's a lot of information. I hope people sort of really go through the video if they watch it later, and just firstly go into your resources because they're awesome, and then secondly listen to someone that's been through a lot of different things in the industry, and you've thrown out like a heap of gold nuggets, and I really appreciate your time because that's what it's all about, is sharing that experience with people within the groups. And basically you've been around for 20 odd years plus in the industry, and just sharing that information. And I know you love doing it. That's why you do what you do, especially with
I really do love doing it. And again, I'm not doing it to promote myself, and I'm not, I've got the affiliate programs, but I'm not, I don't force anybody to buy affiliate programs or sell anything. It's there. If you want it, do it. If you want to, ask me a question or see something on this, podcast that you're interested in, send me an email and I'll reply to you. And I'm truly just, I'm here, trying to help people succeed in their journey. So.
No, awesome. I appreciate your time. And we've actually made time. We're about a minute over, but which is amazing because when we've talked in the past, we've gone for about 4 hours. So this is fantastic. And we're about a minute over. So I'll let you go. You've got to go for a walk on the beach. You said it's beautiful.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. So I appreciate it. And I'll wrap it up. I'll put you back in the green room and you can warm down, and I'll just wrap it up with the people on the podcast. But no, thank you very much. Enjoy your day, and we'll catch up later. Awesome. Thanks, David.
Good luck, everybody. Talk to you.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
All right.
Okay, guys, there you go. There's David Frisell, who, is the Wholesalers Toolbox. He's got a few other things going, but I really appreciate him coming on. He's a wealth of knowledge, and he is genuinely a guy that will share any information. So do yourself a favor. The website's there. Get his email address, like he says. He's approachable. You can reach out to him. So do yourself a favor, reach out to him. And firstly, just go into the Wholesalers Toolbox and have a look at the stuff that's there. The people in my Facebook group have been blessed enough that he's dropped a bomb in there a couple of weeks ago. So if you're not in the group and you see this, go in there and check him out. And it's been great talking to him, and he's really one of the nice guys of the industry. So if you need to, reach out to him. So I'll sign off for now, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Thunder from Down Under podcast. And if you guys can, wherever you see this, if you can like it, smash the like button. And we've just started the Graham Solomon Thunder from Down Under Facebook business page. So if you see it in there, go in there, hit the like button, leave comments, and spread the love. If you've got any comments that you want to put in there for David, some positive feedback for David, throw them in there too, because that's it's encouraging for the people to come on to know that they're reaching out to people. So all right, I'll sign out now. Thank you very much, guys, for coming in and watching. And once again, I thank David. And if you get a chance, do what David's doing. Go for a nice walk outside if you can, if the weather's good, and enjoy the rest of your week. Okay, see you guys.